Do you know the origins of Halloween? A night filled with tricks, treats, and a hint of the supernatural. Yet, how many of us truly know where it all began? Behind the costumes and the candy lies a tale steeped in ancient traditions, influenced by diverse cultures, and shaped by religious beliefs. The story of Halloween is as multifaceted as a well-carved pumpkin. So, are you ready to uncover the mysteries of this eerie celebration? Stay tuned as we delve into the fascinating history of Halloween. Halloween, as we know it today, has its roots in the ancient Celtic festival of Samhain. Long before jack-o'-lanterns and trick-or-treating, Halloween started with the Celts, a group of tribes that lived more than 2,000 years ago in the region now known as Ireland, the United Kingdom, and northern France. They celebrated a festival named Samhain, pronounced as Samhain, which marked the end of the harvest season and the beginning of the colder months. For the Celts, winter was a time of great uncertainty and superstition. It was a season associated not just with the cold, but also with death. They believed that on the night of Samhain, the boundary between the living and the dead became blurred, and spirits of the deceased would return to earth. Fearing the havoc these spirits could wreak, they would light bonfires and wear costumes to ward off these ghostly visitors. The customs of Samhain were deeply ingrained in Celtic culture. The festival was not merely a time of fear, but also a time of celebration. The Celts would gather around the bonfires, sharing stories of the past year and making predictions for the future. They would also make offerings of food and drink to the spirits, in the hope of ensuring a prosperous year ahead. Interestingly, the tradition of trick-or-treating can be traced back to this ancient festival. During Samhain, the Celts would leave out food to appease the spirits. Over time, this practice evolved into the modern custom of children going from door to door, asking for sweets. So, while Halloween has changed over the centuries, it still retains many of the traditions and customs that originated with the Celts and their festival of Samhain. From bonfires and costumes to trick-or-treating and the association with the supernatural, the spirit of Samhain lives on in the Halloween we celebrate today. Now let's see how this ancient festival evolved over centuries. When the Romans conquered Celtic territories, they brought along their own festivals, which merged with Samhain. The Romans had two festivals that played a significant role in the evolution of Halloween as we know it today. First, there was Feralia, a day in late October when the Romans traditionally commemorated the passing of the dead. The public rites and rituals of Feralia may have been adapted into the Samhain traditions, contributing to the Halloween themes of death and the supernatural. Next, we have the festival of Pomona, the Roman goddess of fruit and trees. Her symbol is the apple, which could explain the Halloween tradition of bobbing for apples. This tradition of incorporating the harvest into the festival might have influenced Samhain to include more elements of celebration and feasting. These Roman influences, combined with the existing Celtic traditions, started to transform Samhain into a festival that began to resemble the modern Halloween. But the transformation of Halloween was far from over. With the spread of Christianity, Halloween underwent another transformation. As Christianity began to flourish and spread through Europe, its teachings and practices started to intersect with the existing Celtic and Roman traditions. As part of this religious evolution, the Church established two significant observances that would greatly influence Halloween: All Saints' Day and All Souls' Day. All Saints' Day, also known as All Hallows' Day, was established by Pope Boniface IV in the 7th century. It was a day set aside to honor all saints and martyrs, known and unknown, who had ascended to heaven. Initially celebrated on May 13th, it was later moved to November 1st by Pope Gregory III, a shift that brought it closer to the Celtic celebration of Samhain. Following closely on the heels of All Saints' Day is All Souls' Day on November 2nd. This day was dedicated to praying for the souls of the departed who were yet to reach heaven. The faithful would offer prayers, alms, and masses in memory of their departed loved ones, a practice that echoes the ancient Roman festival of Parentalia. The evening before All Saints' Day, known as All Hallows' Eve, started to adopt elements of both Samhain and the Roman festivals. It was a night when the veil between the living and the dead was believed to be the thinnest, much like Samhain. Over time, All Hallows' Eve was abbreviated to Halloween and finally to the Halloween we know today. The Christian influence turned Halloween from a purely pagan festival into a blend of beliefs and practices. The Church's attempt to replace the Celtic Festival of the Dead with a church-sanctioned holiday ended up creating a unique amalgamation of traditions that spanned cultures and centuries. This transition wasn't always smooth or welcomed, and many of the old traditions persisted, melding into the new Christian practices. The result was a rich tapestry of customs and beliefs that continue to evolve and shape our modern celebration of Halloween. This brings us to the Halloween we know and celebrate today. Fast forward to the 21st century, and Halloween has become a global phenomenon. Today, this spooky celebration transcends boundaries, capturing the imagination of people worldwide, regardless of their culture or country. Halloween today is a blend of fun, fright, and festivity. It's a time when the barrier between the real and the surreal is believed to blur, creating a playground for both the living and the supernatural. But what are the key elements that define the contemporary version of this ancient festival? One of the most iconic practices of modern Halloween is trick-or-treating. Children, dressed in a myriad of costumes, go from door to door, asking for treats with the phrase, "trick or treat." This tradition is a fun-filled activity that blends the thrill of dressing up and the joy of receiving candies. It's a practice that brings communities together, all in the spirit of Halloween. Costume parties are another significant aspect of Halloween today. These are not just for children, but adults too revel in the opportunity to become someone or something else for a night. From witches to superheroes, from classic movie monsters to popular culture icons, the variety of costumes is as diverse as the imagination of the ones wearing them. Horror-themed attractions also add to the Halloween experience. Haunted houses, eerie corn mazes, and chilling ghost tours become hotspots of thrill and excitement. These attractions offer people a safe and controlled environment to experience fear and horror, adding to the overall atmosphere of Halloween. Halloween today is also a time for creative expression. People decorate their homes with jack-o'-lanterns, artificial spiders, and ghostly figures. The art of carving pumpkins into jack-o'-lanterns is a beloved tradition, symbolizing the festival's connection to the harvest season. So, as we can see, Halloween today has evolved into a celebration of community, creativity, and controlled fright. It's a time when the ordinary becomes extraordinary, and the impossible seems just a little more possible. But how did these modern traditions come about? Many of our Halloween traditions have interesting origins. So, let's dive into the past and understand how these customs came to be a part of our modern celebrations. First up, trick-or-treating, a highlight for children and dentists alike. This tradition dates back to the medieval practice of souling. On All Souls' Day, the poor would go door to door offering prayers for the dead in exchange for soul cakes. Over time, this practice evolved into children going from house to house asking for food or money, which gradually turned into today's practice of gathering candies and sweets. Now, let's illuminate the story behind the iconic jack-o'-lanterns. The tradition of carving scary faces into vegetables hails from an Irish myth about a man called Stingy Jack. Legend has it that Jack tricked the devil and was consequently denied entry to both heaven and hell. He was doomed to wander the earth with only a burning coal, which he carried in a carved-out turnip. The Irish began to refer to this ghostly figure as Jack of the Lantern, and later, Jack-o'-lantern. Immigrants to America found pumpkins to be plentiful and perfect for this tradition, and so, the pumpkin jack-o'-lantern was born. Finally, the origin of Halloween costumes. This tradition can be traced back to the Celtic festival of Samhain, where villagers would disguise themselves in animal skins to drive away evil spirits. The idea was to blend in with the returning spirits or to scare them off. As Halloween became more of a community-centered holiday, costumes evolved from scary disguises to an array of characters and themes we see today. So, the next time you celebrate Halloween, remember the rich history behind this spooky festival. Each trick-or-treat, every carved pumpkin, and all the creative costumes are not just fun-filled traditions, but echoes of a fascinating past that shape our present-day festivities. From the ancient Celts to the Roman Empire to modern day, Halloween has come a long way. We've journeyed through time, tracing the evolution of this spooktacular festival from its Celtic Samhain roots, witnessed its transformation under Roman influence, the subsequent Christian impact, and ultimately its flourishing into the modern traditions we know and love today. Every twist and turn tells a tale, every costume a history. Thank you for joining us on this historical journey. Remember, every festival has a story worth exploring. We hope you enjoy our video, and if you want to know more interesting facts on more different topics, then please show us some love with a like, share and subscribe. Thank you and have a nice day.